There we go.
Yeah, so there's the alcohol.
So yes.
Good morning, everybody. If I sound a little low energy, we can thank some people around here. Kept me talking until 2 o'clock in the morning, chatting, and it wasn't my fault, I promise. My name is Jonathan Brazee, and I'll be talking about professional organizations that can help you with your career. A little bit about me. I'm 34 years in the U.S. military, now a full-time writer. Wrote my first story in 1978, published it in an academic magazine, and then I was nonfiction until 2006. Wrote a novel while I was in Iraq, got it published as an ebook not until 2012. Been writing ever since. I was the second indie accepted into the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America. I'm now the chairman of the Professional Education Committee, and I'm running for director at large. So that's why I'm talking about professional organizations.
Sir.
Thank you. First question is why? Why would you join a professional organization? Well, the fact that you're here right now is a pretty good indication that you understand some of that. First thing I'll talk about is education. You can go to your local college and take Creative Writing 101. You can go to business school. You can do all that to learn parts of the things that help you become a professional writer. But if you join the organizations, it's all in one place. You learn from other people. You learn from panels. You learn from here at 20 Books. Everybody's giving you classes, basically, on how to improve your career. It is a great place for formal and informal education. And one thing I'll say is, when I'm talking about professional organizations, I'm going to be very broad in the terms. We'll be talking about conventions and groups and things like that, too. Number 2, this is one that's very important to me. Oh. No, we're still back. He wants me to get off the stage pretty quick. Networking. Camaraderie. Okay, we'll go. Okay, networking. I believe this is one of the most important things that can happen with any professional organization. We tend to be solitary writers because writing is solitary. We sit up in our little writer's garret with the door closed, and if we have a family, we close the door so the kids don't come in and the spouse doesn't come in. But basically, you're writing alone. Networking is a way to get out there and meet other people who are in the community. It doesn't have to be writers. It could be editors. It could be illustrators. It could be anybody, beta readers, anybody that could help you with your career. And it's not just specifically, I'm going to find this person can edit for me. It's this person knows this person who knows this person who now knows that this traditional publisher is looking for a book bundle for military romance. They call you up and say, hey, do you have a book that you could put into this book bundle? Networking is vital and is one of the biggest tools, one of the most valuable tools in your toolbox, in my opinion. Camaraderie. Once again, we're sitting up there in our little writer's garret. Now, we may have another job, and we meet people from work. We may have a bowling league or whatever it is, but these aren't writers. Sometimes you just need to be around other writers. Last Friday, I'm sitting there, already had dinner. I sit down, and I'm getting ready to write, and there's a little message from Michael Anderle. Can I buy you a steak? I'm thinking, I just ate. But I do like steak. But I sent him a picture of the steak that I just happened to have had myself. But I started thinking, I don't go out. I mean, I go out when I go out to the movies with my wife and stuff like that, but I don't go out boys' night out. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. I'll let you buy me dessert. So I sat there while he ate a steak, and we talked. We talked for 3 hours, and it wasn't all about writing, though. It was just nice to have a friend who's a writer. I'll put it that way.
That's good looking.
Very good looking. And he's a magnet for all the people there. It was a good key lime pie, though. That was worth it right there. Getting back to
not the scintillating conversation.
No, key lime pie. Getting back to the community. Well, speaking of Anderle, we got Anderle and Craig sitting right there. People who have become successful give back and and help other people become successful. They got help when they started. Other people here, Michael Coop, I mean, everybody here who's spoken to you, people who have achieved a level of success, somebody helped them. Now they can help somebody else. So if you've got knowledge that you can give, here's where you give back to the community and keep the whole industry going. Without that, none of this works. Services. A lot of organizations provide services. It may be you get an offer, you get a trad contract, but you don't have an agent. And you don't know if it's a good contract or not. A lot of these organizations will look at that contract for you and tell you, it's a good one. Oh, you're getting screwed. Whatever it is, it's service. They can hook you up with editors, illustrators. A lot of these organizations offer health insurance. So if you're a full-time writer and you don't have health insurance and you've got to do it out on the open market, well, maybe it doesn't matter so much here in the UK. You got yours, but that's something that can be offered. And did I mention networking? I'm going to mention it again. Networking. While you are here, make sure when you leave with a bunch of business cards. And keep those contacts open, even if it's to put them on your Facebook. Make a friend from Facebook. You never know. It might be 5 years from now when that's going to pay off. Don't leave here without all these contacts. You're wasting half of the conference. Okay. Types of organizations. I'm a little bit broad here. I'm not specifically talking about one little type. But basically, you've got your professional organizations. Some of these can be genre. The first one I'll talk about is SIFWA. Any members of SIFWA here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just curious. That's the Science Fiction Writers of America. I'll go over these in more detail. But all of these romance writers, sisters in crime, horror writers, these are all genre-specific organizations. So if you want to talk to other romance writers, you want to talk to other mystery writers, you want to find out what's good in those genres, these are the types of organizations that you'll be looking at.
Hey, Jonathan. SIFWA, even though it says America, is world.
It's world. Most of these, and this is a debate that's going on right now, the Horror Writers of America is no longer. It is a Horror Writers Association. all of these, a few of them, Society of Authors is UK. This you have to be in the United. Actually, one of these, I think it's the mystery writers. You have to reside in the United States.
What is WWA?
That is the Women Writers Association. And there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of these out here, and you can do a search. I'm only going to talk about a few of them because I don't have 5 hours. Craig's nodding. Okay. So we'll talk about some of these, but these are specific to either women writers. This is a women writers, true crime writers. Then you have your general organizations that are open to anybody. You have some of them like this is actually a union affiliated with the UAW in the United States. Very broad terms of what a writer is. This is a UK Society of Writers. It's a big, out of curiosity, you got any SOA here? Okay, you got a lot of people. Know a lot more than I do about it. But it's good, from what I've seen, it's a good organization to belong to. You got your commercial organizations. These are organizations that you have, KDP is Amazon's organization for writers. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it gives you a forum and it provides you an extra contact information. You got your open. There's this new one right here. It's called 20 Books to 50K. I've heard it's pretty good. You should look into it. The K boards. You call it an organization, and like I said, I'm being a little bit broad. You got writers' workshops. And writers' workshops tend to be more craft building, but it also provides networking and conventions. Okay. I'm going to go over just a few of these to try to explain how it's done. The Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, which I'm a member of. I highly promote it for anybody writing science fiction or fantasy, obviously. They do things like they present the Nebula Awards. Most of these big organizations have the Bram Stoker Award, the Nebula Awards. Awards are a good way for both self-actualization, I've arrived, but it also is a very good thing to have on your blurbs when you're writing books. A Nebula Award winner, Bram Stoker Award winner. All these things can really help you out. And it's also kind of nice to think that your peers believe enough in you that you are actually a member. You have arrived. As with most of these, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the SIFLA, just because a lot of them are set up the same way. You have different levels of members. You have an active member, which is like the full member. To be an active member of SIFLA, you have to have, for example, you have to have had a novel that's made $3,000 within a year, or you can do it through short stories and things like that. Associate member is basically like a beginning member. You haven't had the same level of achievement yet financially, but you want to be part of it. And when you go to some of the advantages of these, you can do it as associate member or as an active member. And then affiliate member, it'd be the drafted digitals and things like that who are in the community, in the writing community, but are not necessarily writers. And one of the advantages of this too, when we talk about conventions, is when you go to WorldCon, the World Fantasy Con, WorldCon is science fiction, organizations like this have a suite. And you can go in the suite and hang out and meet all the people you've read all your life. When you go in and you sit down and here's the writer that you've read for 50 years, and he's sitting right there. And he talks to you like a real person. I was at a suite at WorldCon in Helsinki, and I'm sitting there chatting with George Martin. Wow. And we were just chatting about all, and I kept away from Game of Thrones till the very end when we started talking about flying dragons. And he's actually afraid of heights. As a very little aside, not to take too much time, as we were leaving the suite, he has a handler go everywhere with him, and she went to the restroom while we're waiting, and there's this big long hall, and this person is walking to us with, very, very, he's ready to go, and he's got a book in his hand, and he's coming right up, so I go, okay. I kind of step to the side. This is my book. And he wants my signature. And if I had enough guts, I would have turned over to George and said, well, too bad you don't have any fans here. That's an aside, it's nothing to do with professional organization, but it would have happened if I wasn't in SIFLA. So I guess it does fit. Okay, next one, please. Romance Writers America, I'm actually a member of this too. I wrote a romance on a dare and it qualified me. This is probably, well, I had to write it on a dare because I didn't think I could. This is probably the best organization for a writer who wants to learn the craft. So you can be a member by just saying you have an intent. Yes, I wrote the first chapter of a book. Whatever your genre is, I would suggest that you join here. It's easier if you're in the United States, but they got a lot of members here in the UK, and some of these conventions are very, very good. Now they have 2 tracks. Well, they still have the General Associate affiliate, but they have 2 tracks. They have the open track, and then what's called PAN, and if you have a book that's made $1,000, you can join PAN. And what's really nice about that is it gives you very specified. They had data guy at the last convention doing a presentation and things like that. It helps. In fact, I only joined because, where's Kevin? There we go. Kevin back there told me I should join, and I always trust Kevin. So I joined, and it's been really amazing. They're better than, my heart's with SIFLA, but they're better than SIFLA as far as teaching people the business of writing. And that's both craft and the business side. And they have a lot of librarians and stuff there too, and they often are looking for people to put their stuff in the libraries. Okay. Mystery Arts America. I put this one because I love their tag. Crime doesn't pay enough. I love it. But anyway, it's just another example of a genre-specific organization. This one you have to reside in the USA. But there are mystery associations here in the UK and in Europe. Once again, different levels of association. Okay. Horror Writers of America. Actually, it is not of America. It has been changed. It is Horror Writers Association. They wanted to get away from the America to let everybody know that it is international. They put out this Bram Stoker Awards, which is another big one. And if you get a Bram Stoker Award, that really helps you out a lot with your sales. Do we have horror writers here? Can we do some? I forgot to ask anybody else in RWA? Okay, we got a few. Well, Kevin, I'll rock you with. Okay.
Wait a minute. There's 2 guys and 1 lady who's.
We let men in too.
I know, but the ratio here seems a little odd.
Don't be so judgmental, Michael.
Okay, in general. Now, these are the ones that are open to basically anybody. The Society of Authors is the one that has got a very good reputation. I am not a member because I'm not in the UK, but we have quite a few members here. I would probably suggest, without being an expert on this specific organization, that if you're here in the UK, you might want to look into joining it. For some of the people, Barry, you're a member. Is it worthwhile?
I found it worthwhile for legal advice. I was using a real life person in my book series. I had to check with the legal team how to do that in a way that wouldn't get me sued.
So, okay.
And they gave me legal advice.
What's the membership fee?
£90 a year.
How much?
£90.
£90. I think if it's worth, I think all of these are worthwhile. From what I've read, this is a very good one in the UK.
I'm on the committee.
Oh, okay. Do you think it's a good organization? I'm glad I didn't say anything bad about it. I'll forget that one.
The rubbish, no, they're not.
It's all rubbish. As you can see, there are multiple ways to qualify. From what I saw, almost anything that can be associated with being a writer is enough to qualify. And they have what's called the Associates Emerging Author, which I think is pretty good.
If you want to join as an indie, you have to have sold 300 paperbacks or 500 ebooks in a year.
Yeah, it's very doable.
Can I buy my own 500 ebooks?
You can buy 300 paperbacks and you'd still be okay.
I'll just set it to 99 cents.
That's where you go. There you go. And like I said, it's got a very broad definition of what it is to be an author. On the American side, this is the National Writers Union. This is an actual union. It's affiliated with the UAW. They offer health care. They have lobbyists going up in front of Congress and something. Here's the one thing I like about them. I'm not a member, but one thing I like about them, if you look on this big long list of 100 different things that qualify, that says you're an author, and it's not on there, email them and they'll put it on. Whatever it is, they will put it on and then say this is a qualifying occupation to be a member of the National Writers Union. Commercial. Now, I actually go back. No, leave it here. I put this on the wrong spot. The Alliance of Independent Authors is on the other group. It is an open organization. It's based here in the UK. How many members? Oh, geez, got a lot here. So I'm going to talk about them. Where's Debbie?
Yeah.
Oh, right in front of me. We got Debbie here. It's a pretty good organization. I've been a member for 2 years myself. That's a lot of good information, a lot of good stuff to help you in your journey. I forgot what's the difference between the paid membership 99 and 139.
There's different kinds of membership. So you can join as an author of different kinds, associate, author member, professional member if you're selling lots and lots of books. You can also join as a partner member if you're offering a service. And there are lots and lots of different benefits that you can get at different levels. And it's actually global, although obviously I'm in the US. Yeah, we've got, it's about, let me get this right, I think it's 60% North America, 40% Europe, roughly. and we've got a big contingent, so that's more than 100%. We've got a significant contingent in Australasia, growing number in other parts of the world as well. So it's truly global. Although I happen to be English, Borna, who founded it as a sort of an independent alternative to the Society of Authors when she was in you can join whatever stage you are, hybrid, trade published, whatever. If you're independent state of mind, you're in. So, and with the membership fee, partners pay more, professional members pay more, but most members can more than cover their costs of the annual membership with the many, many discounts and deals that you can get. For example, if you use Ingram Spark, your setup fee is free. And all sorts of things like that.
I have made use of the Ingram Spark.
Free guidebooks as well.
Yeah, I'm actually a Nordic ambassador. But there is also an affiliate scheme, so if you encourage new members joining on your affiliate scheme, then you actually, I think it's 30%, isn't it?
It's 30%, but 30% of the first year's membership.
You need to convince 3 people to pay for your annual.
And you get free guidebooks as well to help you as well. And that's all on that website. There's also a blog that's free. If anyone wants information about it, I've got cards.
We rehearsed this before. I didn't mention it, but it's because we have limited time. But I'm also a member. They do have a convention, but it's like $480 to who's it? They do have a convention to go to. They provide a lot of the similar services. There are quite a few of these groups. I'm just putting up some representative groups. There's 100 of these. And oh my gosh, okay. Open. I don't even talk about 20 books, we know it. And keyboards, most people are know about it. So let's go to writers' workshops. Writers' workshops are a good idea. They tend to be expensive, but everybody who goes to them comes out of them that I've talked to thinking that they really learned a lot. They help you with the craft of learning how to write. You have writing exercises. You sit there and they give you things to do. They tend to be in nice places. They can be a good place to go on vacation or something like that. Also, provides long-term networking. A lot of these people become very close friends and they network for a long time. It opens the door to traditional publishing because the trad publishers have representatives at all these workshops. Here are just some examples. Clarion in the United States is one of the most famous ones. A lot of the big authors that you know, that you've read about, that you read their works, they went to Clarion. Santa Fe Conference. Kauai is pretty popular because it's in Hawaii. Murphy Writing, they have them all over the world. And right away, Europe, same kind of thing. They've got quite a few of them in the UK. They have some in Scotland coming up. They're Italy, Spain. These are good. These workshops to help you with the craft of writing can be very, very valuable. And they do provide these two things right here, long-term networking, and they open doors to traditional publishing. Okay, I want to talk about conventions for a second. You might not think, convention, is that a professional organization? Well, yeah, it is. Yes, most conventions are aimed at the fans, but that's a good thing. You meet your fans. When you go there, these people will search you out, or they'll see your name and go, wow, I read that book. And now they want to talk to you. It's a good place to meet your fan. And if you're a member of some of these other organizations like RWA and SIFWA and all of these, it's a lot easier to get on panels. So you become on a panel and you sit there and you tell them all about characterization or writing about diversity. And now they listen to you, and now they want to talk to you, and now they want to read your books because they just heard you talk. And now and you have formed a physical bond with these people. You are no longer just a name on Amazon or on Kobo. You are a person that they met and they own part of you. They feel that they are vested in you and they're going to read your books. It gives you a feel for trends in your genre. If you go to WorldCon, you've talked to other people and they say, oh wow, youth urban fantasy romance. It's doing really well. And you thought, oh, I could do that. But it gives you an idea of what other people are writing, what's going on. You can see what panels are being said. And then you have people like Draft to Digital are going to be there, Data Guy, things like that are going to give you data that maybe you don't have access to. That'll help you decide where you want to write. Networking. If I haven't mentioned it, networking is valuable. I was able to use ad copy from Jerry Pornell because of a convention where we were talking, and he told me that he read my book and it wasn't half bad. And I use exactly those words. In local cons, they're going to be a lot smaller, but this is a good chance, if you're a little bit shy of the big crowds, there's a good chance to be more intimate and get to know people. You have a better chance of being on panels and things like that. These are just a bunch of them. I don't have really time to go through them all because I see Craig hovering over me like a vulture. So you can read those. I go to all of these. I'll be going to the Romance Conference in Denver. WorldCon next year's in Dublin. So if you write sci-fi, that's not too far for everybody here in the UK. At least go to there. Last one is in Helsinki last year. This year is in San Jose, California. Next year, Dublin. And with that, I think I'm out of time.
All right, thanks, John.